Welcome to another episode of Hot Topics, and I've got Barto here with me to discuss it today. Barto, how are you?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Tim. Yourself?
Very well. Now, this is a look at the Freddie Steward Red Card from Saturday, which is probably the most talked about thing in rugby at the moment. And it's just a question of whether the whole drama of it could have been avoided. Now, before we start, this is not a personal criticism of the referee on the day. I think he's been put in a very difficult position, nor is it sour grapes. I believe Ireland would have won anyway. I think they were going to come strong in the second half regardless. However, the ref was put in a very difficult position because of the current climate, as he said himself. So, Barto, we've got a situation over there in Super Rugby at the moment with an experimental law variation that could have just diffused this whole thing. Tell me about it and how it's gone down so far.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. So over here at the moment, Super Rugby, what happens is referees can decide to give a yellow card, and then there is 8 minutes for the TMO to take a look and see if it needs upgrading or stays with a yellow card. So basically what happens is there's an incident, TMO brings it to the referee's attention, referee has one look, maybe two looks at a replay, and says, have we met yellow card threshold? TMO says, yes, we have. Referee gives a yellow card, does the rugby league style on report, goes upstairs, game carries on, and in the background, the TMO is checking if it meets red card standard or yellow card standard.
Got it. And what that probably gets rid of a lot of at the moment is in the stadium, while the referee is trying to deliberate on this stuff, it's almost becoming a pantomime with people booing at the screen and stuff like that. And I don't blame them. I would be doing the same. But I don't particularly think it's a healthy thing for referees to have to deal with.
I mean, no, absolutely. I mean, you basically get home ground advantage, don't you? Because it's home ground TV producers who are making the replays. So, for example, if you're in Dublin at the weekend, the Irish producers play replays, and it's their decision as to what angles and how many times they play them, what the referee looks at, what the TMO looks at. And that, as you say, if you're in the crowd, you'd be going for your team, whatever it may be. So here, right now, 1, 2 replays, yellow card, off you go. Ground TMO has a look at it, and then informs the referee of whether it stays as yellow or an red.
And have any of these happened so far?
Yeah, there's been one so far. But there's been a number of yellow cards, but there's only been the one red card, which is a yellow upgraded, and it was for a clear out by a Hurricanes player on a Melbourne Rebels player, shoulder connection straight to the head. Referee said, the TMO brought it to the referee's attention. Referee said, can we see it? 2 replays. He said, I believe that's yellow card threshold. TMO says, absolutely. Gave him a yellow card, arms up, off he went. About 6 minutes later, the referee went over to the captain, Hurricanes, I think it was Ardy Severe, captain. He went up to him and said, hey mate, just to let you know, that's been upgraded to a red card. Now here in Super Rugby, they actually have the 20-minute red card as well as a full red card. So the 20-minute red card is for a non-intentional, so a head contact style, whereas the full red card is for what you would call foul play, like what old school punching, kicking, that style. So there's a few variations within it. So that guy got that team 20 minutes with no player, and then the guy who got the card couldn't come back on the pitch.
Got it. Okay. So just in terms of communication, how do the people in the stadium understand that it's been upgraded to a red card? Does the referee sort of indicate that, or is it just done to the captain?
Yeah, so referee's mic'd up here, and so in a stoppage of play he does it, and then there's a thing up on the big screen saying what's happened.
Cool. And what is the reaction to it so far generally? What's the kind of feeling?
Really positive, because I don't know exactly how long it was for the Freddie Steward one, but I would be guessing they took a minimum of 2 minutes to make that decision, because there was quite a few replays, because it was obviously a little bit different and possibly contentious. Whereas this one, 2 replays, you're talking 30 seconds and the game's back going again. So it's been a really positive sort of implementation. I say all the stuff they're doing here right now is just about speeding up the game, and it's making a drastic difference.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a fan of ELVs, experimental law variations, because I think you should always try and improve the game. Now, when we sort of thought about talking about this, I was trying to rack my brains to come up with a downside to this specific ELV. I can't come up with any. Have any come up for you at all?
No, I can't think of any either, Tim. I'll be honest with you. The pressure on like match day referees, on the pitch referees right now is huge because of the safety issues. Everyone wants a safe sport. They want the sport to carry on. But I think that's increased pressure on referees. This obviously takes that away because what you've got is you've got a person sat in a studio, a van out the back, whatever, who's got no other interaction. They can look at it and they can review it. So my understanding is there's two people in the van here. So one carries on reviewing the normal game, one looks at that incident and decides whether that gets upgraded or not. And I just think that that's a brilliant concept. The referee can just concentrate on the normal laws of the game, dealing with what's going on in front of him, knowing that he's doing the right thing by yellow card and putting the arms across, referring it, and then letting the TMO, who's not getting that outside influence, spend his time looking at it and looking at all the possible angles and making a decision knowing that he's not slowing down the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as much as I disagreed with the decision on Saturday, I also very much felt for the referee because I feel like they're kind of in a bit of an impossible situation at the moment. Hopefully, this ELV will come in across the game. I think it can only be a good thing. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I think it's the way forward to take some pressure off match day referees, speed the game up. Rugby League have been using a very similar situation. They haven't been doing that review, but they've been putting people on report if they're not too sure, with the levels. I think that's also quite a smart idea. It means that, citing commissioners will possibly have less to do. It can all be dealt with on the day. And so if you get upgraded to a red card, it's an automatic 3-match ban or whatever it may be. Just means there's less judicial process and stuff going on in the background. And you look at the Freddie Steward one, the referee and the TMO, so the match day officials have made a decision. And then last night, they told that decision is basically incorrect because it's been rescinded, which, whether you think it's the right decision, wrong decision, all that does to me is undermines the referee. Next time Jaco Piper steps out onto a pitch to referee, he's going to have people who are just going to be looking at him, interrogating him even further, which just makes his job even harder. I just can't see that there's anything to gain from that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we're doing it now. We're talking about the referee, which is something neither of us want to do. I 100% believe that. And it takes away some of the attention away from a phenomenal Ireland Grand Slam, which shouldn't be the case. So if it only does one thing, it makes us speak about the referee less, then I'm definitely a fan of it.
Oh, massively. As you say, Tim, Ireland deserved championship winners, Grand Slam winners. I thought the first 30, 40 minutes game on Saturday was excellent. And then, yes, it does have an effect. I don't believe England would have won either. However, who's to say? Because we don't know. And that's probably the one thing which you can't answer because you don't know. And I think that it's a real shame that there's that little bit of a taint on it. I'm sure for the Irish there's no taint on it. They'll be more than happy, mate, and celebrating rightly so. But it's still just that little bit, it was only 3-4 points at the time. Just going into half-time, you regroup, things change. Because, let's be honest, Ireland totally changed their tactics, rightly so, very smartly in the second half, knowing that England were a player down, a back 3 player down, and made it a lot easier for them to play a game that suited trying to win.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, we'll bring this to a close now. People listening, what do you think about this ELV? Do you think it's a good idea? Can you see any weaknesses in it? Me and Barto can't, but maybe there are. We'd love to hear from you. Do that in the comments below. And then hopefully, as far as we're concerned anyway, this ELV will come into force, maybe even in time for the World Cup. So we'll leave it there. Barto, thanks very much again for your time today.
No worries, mate. Have a good one.